Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This was not supposed to happen. Not in a courtroom. Not with him. But on that day, in federal court, the doors swung open and in walked Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. No cameras. No announcement. Just silence and a man carrying something heavier than fame. His face told the story before he even spoke. Not the smile we knew from red carpets and movie sets. This face was hollow, tired, haunted. He wasn't there to sell a movie. He was there to confess. When he took the stand, even Diddy looked rattled. His lawyers whispered. The prosecution sat upright. Nobody had expected this. Dwayne asked the judge if he could speak before being sworn in. The judge nodded. Dwayne turned to the gallery, the jury, and finally to Diddy. I don't want to be here, but I have to be. I have lived with something that has eaten at me for almost 20 years, and I am still scared. But I am more scared of what happens if I stay silent. The courtroom went still. Then he sat, voice low, not theatrical, just raw. You all know me as The Rock, the guy who never breaks. But I am about to break now. What I am about to say is not just about Diddy. It is about how he got away with it for so long. I was one of them. I thought playing along meant survival. I paid a price nobody ever saw. And then he told the story. It began in 2001. Wrestling fame behind him, Hollywood in front of him. Scorpion King had just hit. He was hungry, naive, and Diddy appeared like a guardian angel. The man who had all the keys, the one who could open every door. At first, it felt like networking. Champagne, music, movie producers, but then the tone changed. Diddy asked him strange things. Are you down for greatness? Would you bleed for it? Dwayne laughed. Diddy didn't. Then came the invitations. Late night parties. Empty houses. One night he was told to arrive at a location at 2:13 a.m. He waited alone for an hour. Then a group arrived. All dressed in black suits. Silent. No introductions. No phones. It felt like a cult. Then Diddy entered. The lights dimmed. Hidden speakers played a voice on repeat. Are you worthy? Are you ready? Would you eat what I feed you? Dwayne thought it was performance art. Some eccentric billionaire thing. He kept telling himself, this is just showbiz. But deep down, something felt wrong. Then came the tray. A man in a white robe brought it out. No one said a word. When the cover was lifted, it wasn't a joke. It was real. A steel plate. Pieces of raw monkey brain. Still steaming, Diddy laughed. Calm. Holding a crystal glass filled with dark liquid. He leaned in. Everyone who made it ate. Everyone who didn't vanished. Dwayne wanted to walk. The door was locked. He asked if this was a prank. Nobody laughed. Diddy handed him a spoon. Hollywood is not about talent, he said. It's about obedience. Dwayne's hands shook, but he ate. He doesn't remember the taste. Just the silence after the laughter. The chewing. The weight of shame. Diddy clapped. Welcome to level 2. After that night, everything changed. Dwayne started getting calls. Roles. Scripts. Meetings. Projects he never even auditioned for. People whispered that Diddy had vouched for him. He didn't ask questions. He was just grateful. Until he said no. He once declined a late-night gathering. The following week, a major studio pulled his name from a project. No warning. No explanation. His agent said, "You must have upset someone important." That was when he realized. These weren't offers. They were assignments. He remembered a desert retreat. He thought it was business-related. It wasn't. No studio reps. No agents. Just entertainers. Some famous. Some just starting out. All quiet. All uneasy. Phones taken. Music playing on loop. Food came at random times. They were given scripts. Told to memorize affirmations. Success belongs to those who surrender. Obedience is power. Dwayne thought it was weird, but then it clicked. This wasn't a workshop. It was conditioning. He saw others with the same look in their eyes. Fear, exhaustion, confusion. They were trapped in the same nightmare. And then came the moment that broke him. He was invited to a private estate in the Hollywood Hills. Told it was a screening and networking night. It wasn't. Guards at the door. Phones taken. Masks handed out not for fun, but for anonymity. Inside, it was darker than anything he'd seen. He saw a young actor crying in a hallway. Dwayne asked, "Are you okay?" The actor said, "They told me this is what it takes." That night, Dwayne left early. He went home. Didn't sleep. He realized he had been protected for a price. He had proven he could stay silent. That's why he was given access. Not because they liked him, because he was useful. And that made him sick. So when the time came, when the court called, he didn't hesitate. He sat in that chair, and for the first time, he told the truth. He explained why stars stay silent. Why athletes, actors, and musicians don't speak up. Because the price isn't just your career, it's your safety, your sanity. He said, "You're taught to smile, perform, obey, never ask questions, never name names." He watched friends disappear from the spotlight for doing less than what he was doing now. But he wasn't afraid anymore. He looked directly at Diddy. "You made me believe I had to sacrifice myself to succeed. That integrity was weakness. But that wasn't power. That was fear." He spoke for the ones who never got to speak. For the ones who vanished quietly. For the ones still stuck behind the curtain. "You don't get to define my legacy. Not anymore." And as he stood from the witness chair, he turned to the room one last time. "I want to say one more thing for the record," he said. "This story is not just about me. It's about the people who didn't survive long enough to speak. It's about the people still trapped, still scared, still waiting for someone to believe them." He took a breath. For decades, Hollywood has lived by one lie. That power justifies abuse. That silence is the price of success. But not anymore. I stayed quiet because I was afraid I'd lose everything. But the truth is, I never had anything if I didn't have myself. He nodded to the judge, then to the jury. Then he said to the world, "The silence is over. We're not afraid anymore." And with that, he walked out. No cameras, no security, no press release. Just a man who finally chose to speak. And a system that for the first time in a long time had no idea how to silence him. Outside the courthouse, the air felt different. Reporters stood frozen. Microphones stayed lowered. No one shouted questions. No one dared. It was as if everyone instinctively knew this wasn't just another celebrity scandal, it was something sacred. Something broken open. And in the silence that followed Dwayne's final words, a new question began to echo. Who else knew? And who's next? Inside Hollywood, phones lit up like wildfire. Agents, publicists, studio heads, all asking the same thing, how much more is coming? And how many of their deals, their stars, their secrets, are tied to the same unspoken machine? For decades, silence had been the currency of survival. But now that silence had been broken, not by a rumor, not by a leaked memo, but by one of their own, under oath, with nothing left to lose. Back inside the courtroom, even the judge looked shaken. She didn't call for recess right away. She let the moment sit like the room itself needed time to absorb what had just been said. Lawyers shifted in their seats, some scribbling, some staring. The jury was motionless. One member quietly wiped away a tear. This wasn't testimony. It was reckoning. And as the doors finally closed behind him, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't look back. He didn't have to. Because whether or not a verdict ever gets delivered in this case, something else already had. The illusion had cracked. The system had been named. And in that moment, for the first time in a long time, the truth walked out stronger than the myth. If this story shook you, it's only the beginning. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next name to take the stand. Like this video if you're done believing the surface-level headlines and drop a comment below. Do you think this was bravery? Or something much bigger unraveling behind the scenes? Either way, the silence is broken. And we're just getting started.